it was scary to believe that. I was very apprehensive to kind of let go of that fear that something was going to go wrong. Around between 16 and 18 weeks, I finally kind of started letting go. We found out that it was a boy. We named him Jameson Chad. Chad was his middle name was after my brother that I had actually lost as a stillborn when I was 6 years old. So I had finally kind of started to let go a little bit and, accept the fact that we were going to have this little boy. And I was having a lot of Braxton Hicks. One night I came home and I was having quite a bit of it. And I was really trying to not be...
How far along were you?
At this point, it was 18 weeks. Everything you look up on the internet, Braxton Hicks is normal. Basically, anything you look up when you're pregnant, 50% of the time it's normal, 50% of the time it's not. So it doesn't mean shit.
Right, it means nothing.
And it was getting worse. I'll try to speed up the story as much as possible. I realized that there was a problem. I'll put it that way. We went to the hospital. They told me that my doctor came in telling me that my entire pregnancy was in my vagina and that there was no way it was going to survive. And I should just take something for the pain because, that's all that I could really do right then. And I was having extreme pain. I was in labor.
You were in labor.
And I was sobbing because I understood what all that meant. And with that, I got very nauseous and I threw up. And when I threw up, my water broke. And long story short, they kept me in the hospital for, 2 to 3 days, numb from the waist down the entire time, anticipating that I was going to go into labor to actually deliver the baby, since my water had broke. And that never happened. He was perfectly healthy, fine, awesome heartbeat, everything looked great.
But there was no amniotic fluid.
So they were extremely worried about my health and the possibility of infection because now if there's no protective sac there, it's just kind of an open way for bacteria to get in and, cause a lot of problems, not only to the baby, but particularly to me.
To you, yeah.
So they basically offered me the possibility of ending the pregnancy several times, which I refused, and sent me home to be on bed rest and hope that the amniotic fluid would regenerate. And
is that even a thing? I've never even heard of that.
It's rare, but sometimes the membrane can reform. So they were hopeful that would happen. So I went home on bed rest. Every time I got up to pee, amniotic fluid would leak out of me. And after after about 2 weeks of being on bed rest, I started to get a fever and it progressed and they had me come back in. And my doctor basically explained that coming back into the hospital that, most likely with this fever, the delivery was going to happen either naturally or they were going to have to induce me to basically save my life and that he would not survive. At this point, I was 20 weeks. And, essentially the lungs are not mature enough to
viable
survive.
pregnancy is technically
23.
I would say 23 or 24 weeks. And even then, they would give an infant the steroids to speed up the lungs and whatever else, which can take another 8 to 10 days. So at 20 weeks... yeah, you're just under the bar.
And the whole time, every time they monitored him, heart rate was great. He, was
fine,
fighting. Yeah. And my feeling was, as long as he was fighting, I was going to fight. Went in the hospital, and basically I was uncontrollably shaking all night, probably because of the infection and fear. And somewhere around a little after 6 a.m, he decided to come on out. And I spontaneously delivered him, and he was not able to survive.